Okay, so here's my update for this week. Just to recap, the beginning of this year, I started a new program through the Sculpted Vegan, and it's the 18-month Sculpt and Shred. I just finished up week 4 of that. And so the program has a few phases. I don't know how many phases, however many it is, but the first phase is 10 weeks. And so I've been doing the same workouts for the last 4 weeks. And what I've been focusing on, it doesn't have like a laid out meal plan to follow. So I figured out, what my maintenance calories were at the beginning. I got an DEXA scan and a RMR test to figure out what my maintenance calories were, and it ended up being like between 1600 1700 calories. And then with my workouts, that gives a little bit more wiggle room. So I've been trying to keep it under 2000 calories, ideally under 1800 calories. But yeah, this week I didn't do so well in that. My goal was to try to up my protein intake a little bit more, and then but keep it within my calories. I did increase my protein intake this week a little bit more. I think last week my protein was hitting about 164 grams a day, which I think is plenty. But then it went up to about 168 grams a day this time, but my calories also went up. And it's just, I'm still struggling with like overeating at night. I'd mentioned before that my body just seems to naturally want to intermittent fast. Like I was never in my life was I one to have like breakfast every morning. Usually my first meal would be somewhere between like 11 and 3, just whenever I would get hungry, and then maybe at night. And so I'm struggling with like trying to get on like just in the habit of eating regular meals. But I don't know if like that's for me, but during this program I'm going to try to do it. And then after the program's over, after I compete, then maybe just figure out something that just naturally works better for me, or maybe this will get me in the habit. Like, I don't know. But to go back to where I ended on the last video, I had talked a little bit about the increased protein and how it was affecting kind of my digestive system. That continued this week. And so I don't know if that's something that like works itself out. Like maybe if any of you have like worked out a lot and like eaten protein and like ended up getting like gas from having all the extra protein, if that goes away. I thought that it was like these bars specifically, and I do think these bars may exacerbate it a little bit. But even on the days that I didn't have these, it was kind of hit or miss. It wasn't like every day, but I don't know. I don't know exactly what the deal was. Like today has not been, I haven't had any issues with it today, but I don't know. I can't really, it's hard because I can't predict it. But yeah, it was still an issue. So I don't know if you're just eating that much protein, if it's bound to happen, or if it levels itself out. I don't know, we'll see. But I'm gonna keep playing around with the diet. This week the diet got kind of screwed up because I had to do some traveling for work. And I still like, usually when I travel for work, it just depends. Like sometimes I end up like not eating very much because I'm just traveling and doing all this stuff. Or I end up eating things that I don't normally eat because I'm traveling and I'm out and getting food out. But this time I didn't have to fly anywhere. I drove, and so I brought a bunch of my own food. But it just, it was hard to stay consistent. I was hoping I could get my workout in at the hotel, and I didn't. So I ended up kind of skipping. I did the cardio, but I ended up skipping my workout on Wednesday morning. But then I did it on Saturday, so made up for it. But yeah, this week was just a weird week. I had the traveling, and then we had like a snowstorm, and just things got a little bit out of whack, and I'm gonna be doing some more traveling, not this coming week, but the week after. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Thankfully, like, I'm not planning to compete within the next, anytime soon. So I should have all this traveling out of the way before, if I do compete like next year. Hopefully I'll have to be sure, and if I have any traveling, to plan around it. But yeah, so I'm hoping this next week I get it a little bit more under control. And I don't want to ramble too much, but I'm just trying to think of anything substantial that happened. Okay, last week I talked about how I had so much energy, and I wasn't sure if it was because I had just increased my protein, and like I was like, well, maybe there is a thing to, like, you get more protein and you maybe have more energy in the gym or whatever. But then I was also not sure if it was my hormones, because I kind of noticed my energy levels fluctuate throughout my hormone cycle, and I think it was mostly the hormones, honestly. Like, I still had really good workouts this week. I still was able to push and everything, but I was just definitely more tired in the morning. Last week I just felt like amazing. I just felt like I could just do so much and push so much. This week it was still pretty good. I still increased my weights, and still made it through my workouts pretty good, or made it through all my workouts well, but I didn't have that same, like, pumped, great feeling like I had last week. So yeah, I'm thinking that last week was my hormone. So we'll see, 2 weeks from now, if I have another, like, really great, workout week. And then we'll see, like, if it is my hormones, then I don't know if it'll be this coming week, or the next week, maybe like really garbage, but we'll just see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how I feel. I guess I don't really have too much more to say this week. I don't know. I'm gonna play around a little bit more with my diet and try. I've got some ideas to kind of stop my, I wouldn't say it was like binging, because I didn't go like crazy. But yeah, just try to stick to what I have planned to eat, and not just feel that temptation to, grab an extra, couple of cookies or bars or fruit or whatever at the end of the night. Just try to stick to what I have planned, and just go with that. Or maybe rearrange my night routine to where we're not just, because basically me and my roommate both work during the day, and then at night we get together and we cook, and then we sit in front of the TV and we eat until, it's time for bed. And I think we need to do something else, or I need to do something else besides just like, all right, it's 6 o'clock, time to stop everything, and I'm just gonna eat until I fall asleep. I need to, like, do something, like, not just sit and watch TV. I don't know. Maybe we'll find a show and just watch one episode and then stretch or something. And I don't know, just to break that habit of just sitting there and just vegging out all night. But yeah, I don't know. We'll work on it. We'll see. But I guess I'll just hop on my apps real quick and go through that, and then do my measurements. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so we'll start with my Fitbit app. So my average weight for last week was still around 140, which was about the same as the week before. And I was kind of surprised, because I was eating more calories most of the days. I didn't stay under the 2,000 calories. And so I was kind of surprised that it didn't, like, increase more. But towards the end of the week, it started to go up. So we'll see. I'm going to try to bring it back into like the 1,800, 2,000 calorie range next week, and hope to stabilize it. And yeah, you can kind of see, let's see, where do I get to the, yeah, so you can see here from like the 1st of January when I started, my weight has just been like steadily increasing. And if you look back from like December, whenever I finished that shred program, where I was down to like, I don't know, I think the last week or two was like 1,400 calories. So it's like creeping back up. I mean, still a lot lower than it was when I had started back in, what is that? Looks like May or June. I was over 160, and then, it went down during that 12-week program, and now it's kind of coming back up. But yeah, I'm not too worried about the weight. Like I said, right now, I feel like I'm making muscle gains in the gym. So yeah, that is the weight. Let me go on to my Fitness Pal. So yeah, so these are my calories. Like I said, my goal was to stay like between 1,800 and 2,000, and that didn't happen on most of the days, especially Monday. It was getting up closer to 3,000. So yeah, I'm going to try to still do the high protein and bring that down. And when you look at the macro breakdown, so even though I did increase my protein, I didn't increase it with the same proportion as I did my carbs. So my goal is like to stay between, have my ratio be 35% protein or higher, 35 to 40%, and then have my carbs and fat be around 30%. And so my carbs were higher this week, and as a percentage, my protein was lower this week, but I still overall had higher protein because there was more calories. And so the total amount of protein was higher, but the ratio of it to the carbs and fat was lower. So I want to try to get that up to about 35%. But yeah, so that's where I was on that, and I will hop over and do my measurements. All right, so here's how we're looking. About the same, I think. So even though my body looks the same, I still have that feeling of like, I feel like it's getting more toned up, like underneath. So I guess we'll see if I can get my calories back down this week. Maybe we'll start seeing some more of the muscle. I notice in the gym, like I feel like a gym bro right now, because like I understand like the things that they're talking about now. I do feel like I'm getting like a pump in the gym, and like when I'm in there doing like my shoulders or arm day, I am starting to see like more definition when I'm in there working out, and I'm definitely noticing more on my shoulders. But yeah, we'll see. Oh, I have something else to talk about. Maybe I'll talk about it at the end for like the future, but let me go ahead and get the measuring tape and do my measurements. All right, so here we go. Start with the chest. Last week, most of the weight gain, it seemed to be in my chest. This week, I feel like it's moving down into my stomach again. I did eat this morning, so maybe that's why it feels that way, but we'll see. So under here, looks a little bit bigger. I think last week, let me see. Yeah, so around there, it's gone up about ½ an inch. Last week it was 30. Now it was 30 and a half. And I have felt like I put on some more back here again. Like I tend to gain weight like here, it seems like. Okay. It's all twisted. And this 35. What was it last week? Oh, that's smaller. Last week it was 35 and a half. Let me try that again. Right across the middle. Okay, no, now it's 35 and a half. So and my waist. I feel like my stomach is big this week. So 31 from my waist. Okay, it looks smaller than last week. Last week it was 31 and a half. And my hips. Like, I feel like I'm being pretty consistent with the measurements, but sometimes I wonder if I change how I do it from week to week. But so this is looking about right at a little bit over 39. Last week it was 39 and a quarter. It looks like maybe a little bit less than that. I'll just put 39 and a quarter again. This is a little bit over 39. And my thigh. I am a little bit sore this week in my legs. Okay, my thigh may be, it's just a little bit above 21. Just a little bit. I'll just put 20. Somewhere between 21 and 21 and a quarter. I'll put 21 and a quarter. So, yeah. Not too much of a change, but that's not surprising because my weight didn't change that much. So yeah, so what I wanted to say was where I'm going to be traveling the week after next is the same place that I went to get my DEXA scan, and it's only been a month at this point, but I am curious because, like I said, I feel like I'm gaining more muscle, and so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get another DEXA scan while I'm there, and we'll just see. We'll see if like some of this extra weight that I've put on is more muscle mass, and yeah, so I think that'll be interesting. But I'll talk about that next week because I'm not getting it done until not this coming Tuesday, but the next Tuesday. So I'll have the results of that in a couple of weeks, and we'll see. I'm gonna try to push hard in the gym this week, since this week I'm not traveling, and so I should be able to get into my regular routine, and I don't know, we'll just see how it goes.